If I win, it's going to cost a lot of money. It cost me billions of dollars to become president. When I ran, I said, it's going to cost me a fortune. Look at my legal costs. I think it's very hard for rich people to run for office. There are a lot of rich people around, got a lot of rich friends. It cost me billions of dollars to be president, especially with all the money I could have made for the last 3-4 years. I got elected as a rich person. So it cost me billions of dollars to be president, and I am so happy I did it. Because who cares? Who cares?
All right, that is the President of the United States talking about his net worth during this national crisis. Good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It is Monday, March 23rd.
So Mika, it's interesting. You and I had a different reaction to yesterday.
Yep.
We also, I mean, obviously, we've been very concerned from the very beginning. We've expressed our concerns about the president, and starting in January, the intel agencies warning him that a pandemic was coming that could really be deadly. Also very concerned about the president saying at rallies that the press was whipping this up into a frenzy and to a hoax level. Been concerned about people with cable news shows talking about how this was just the press was trying to get Donald Trump through this. So a lot of things to be very concerned about. The president saying, if you want a test, you can get a test just weeks ago, and still that not happening. That said, and maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. You can let me know. You do let me know. We have our low expectations on what I call the ground noise. The president talking about how much he's worth. The president talking about Mitt Romney or reacting in a way that really is inappropriate when he finds out that Mitt Romney is isolated. But that said, sorting through that ground noise and looking at the signal, yesterday I saw actually the president trying to be bipartisan towards the governors of the two most affected states. I saw Mike Pence come up and talk about what I believe is most important still, other than everybody socially distancing, and that is the testing. We have to be able to map where this disease is. We have to, there were some positives that came out yesterday. I thought Friday and Saturday's press conferences were, I'll just say it, absolutely frightening. And the president, of course, went on tangents. He can't stay on script. He devolves into self-pity. And that is a very bad look for a commander-in-chief in the time of a crisis. Also, for the life of me, I don't understand why he's not using all the powers that he's using to really coordinate a national response, like FDR coordinated a national response in World War II. He's still holding back. He's still deferring to governors. It's almost like he wants to blame governors if things go badly. No, Harry Truman said the buck stops here. And in a pandemic, the buck doesn't stop with the governor. The buck stops with the White House. This was the mistake George W. Bush made during Katrina. And those of us that were on the ground in Louisiana and Mississippi know the federal government wasn't there because they were waiting for the state to come in and save the day. The state didn't have the resources or the leadership to do it. And a pandemic, it starts at the top, still looks like Donald Trump doesn't understand that. So, but you looked at it completely different than I did.
I did, yeah. I didn't see much difference between yesterday's update and any of the others. In fact, I thought it was a lot worse. You know, there's no national mobilization. There's no triggering of the National Defense Mobilization Act. We still don't have tests. We don't know where we are. The entire country is flying blind. Flying completely blind as to whether or not they've had it, have it, or are going to get it. That's where we are right now, still. And the president talking about his salary, making snarky comments about Mitt Romney. This is a man who does not have the mentality to lead us through this crisis. Let's dive right into the latest as to what we know with coronavirus spreading. State and local leaders pleading for help. Laid off workers in need of immediate relief. Washington providing little assurance to weary Americans over the weekend. The president rejected calls yesterday to use wartime powers to address shortages of face masks, ventilators, and other critical equipment. The Senate also failed to advance a sweeping stimulus bill aimed at boosting American workers and the faltering economy. That news sent stock futures tumbling once again. Mitch McConnell tried to set another vote for 9:45 this morning, 15 minutes after the opening bell, hoping tanking markets would put pressure on Democrats. But Chuck Schumer said no to that idea. The vote is now scheduled for